Good evening. Thank you for coming to, can you hear me okay? All right. Thank you for coming to the El Dorado County Candidate Forum for School Boards. This is our first time doing this in this area, and we're very excited that you are here. Thank you so much for taking the time to come. I just want to go over a little bit about the group that has put this on together. Education Impact, I am the county coordinator for Education Impact. My name is Sarah Renner. And we're a coalition that focuses on initiatives that can make positive impact in education. And we believe that every child deserves the opportunity to reach their full potential and be given options to do so. We provide information to the community through town halls, also candidate questionnaires, and this year we are doing a candidate forum. And there will be two of them. You can see on the screen the two dates. This is the one on the eastern side of the county. We'll be doing one on the western side of the county on next Wednesday, October 16th, and we're thankful that Foothills is going to be hosting that one. One thing I wanted to clarify because of some misinformation that was printed in the newspaper is that Education Impact is not a political action committee. We do not endorse candidates. We do not fund candidates, which is what political action committees do. What we do is provide information from all candidates to the community as an informational service. I have contacted the place that published that incorrectly, and hopefully they'll be correcting that soon. Currently, there are several resources available to the community regarding school board races, and I'm really encouraging you guys to spread information out to the community. This is the second time we've done a candidate questionnaire, but it's really a new concept for people. What it is, and it's in the back, as you exit, you'll be able to see the candidate questionnaires, and you probably received a card like this. They're also online, so you can forward it on to your friends and family. But what it is it's a issues-based questionnaire. It's sent to every candidate in the county. They're contacted both by email and phone, and they can respond. Some chose to respond, some didn't, but we had a very good turnout. And so on each of the questionnaires, it's done by district, and then often down the side, if there is a County Board of Education seat that's for the county board, it's also listed on the district that they service. So like, for example, like Buckeye is also Area 1 EDCO. They overlap in jurisdictions. So when you print it out, it actually has both of those on the same page, right? So that way, those are both on your ballot. So one's for the county seat, one's for the particular district. So the other thing I'd like to let you know is that we provide forums, and it's the opportunity for the candidates to share their vision and views on education. We contacted all the candidates by email that was provided to the elections office, and we're really thankful for the candidates that chose to come and share their views and visions of education. So thank you, candidates, for attending. And now I'd like to give a special thanks to Solid Rock for generously opening their building and providing a service to the community by allowing us to use the facility so that this information could get out. And we will also be, I think we're live streaming and we'll be having video, so that way if you have, especially people that have little kids at home and it's difficult for them to get out, please send it on to them. That way they can hear the views of the candidates that are in their forum or in their jurisdictions. Okay, so here's the rules of the candidate forum. So first of all, the candidates will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves, and then there'll be 5 questions asked, and each candidate will get 1 minute to answer. This is not a debate, and so please focus your answers on your vision, problem solutions, and ideas for the district. If a negative comment was to be made toward a particular candidate, here they would be able to have 30 seconds in rebuttal. Each candidate will have 1 minute for their closing remarks. Which candidate go first was chosen randomly, and we're taking turns on who goes first. And then also we have a facilitator back here that is doing the time, just to let people know when their 2 minutes or 1 minute is up. And regarding the audience, you guys don't look too rowdy, but please no cheering, jeering, or applause in between. We're just going to try to keep it going so that all the questions get answered. We actually have 2 panels. This is the panel from the eastern side of the county, and then we actually have a second panel that'll switch halfway from the western side of the county. So we'll be trying to do both in this amount of time. So that's the directions. Thank you so much for attending, and we're going to be starting with Larry in the opening comments. Larry Thornhill.
Thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and share with you folks. I'd like to explain a little bit about why I'm running and how I got involved in the process. I'm a constitutional coach with an organization called Patriot Academy, and I do a series of classes on biblical citizenship in modern America, where I talk about the founding of our country, how it was founded, and what role did God play in the founders in putting the country together. And many people in this audience have attended those classes and have found it to be beneficial. Class number 8 in that session is dealing with people getting involved, people not sitting on the sidelines anymore. And I took it to heart, and my class took it to heart, because it kind of challenged me a month or 2 months ago, and they asked me, why don't you run? And then I was put into connection with Sarah, and she told me what was going on, and it kind of encouraged me. And I am a Christ follower. I've known Jesus Christ since April 17th, 1969, when I accepted into my heart, and I take my relationship with the church and with the Lord very seriously. I didn't know that I would qualify after 55 years of being a general building contractor if I would really want to be able to get into the school district and be involved in that sort of activity. But after much prayer and deliberation, I really felt the Holy Spirit tell me that He wanted me to do this. And so whether I win or lose, I know I want to obey the Holy Spirit and what He's called me to do. As I said, I have 55 years of experience in construction, very little experience in the realm of education, public education. I did, however, teach many, many years apprenticeship programs in Dublin, California. And so I feel that my education with the apprenticeship program kind of lends itself to the school board that I'm going to be running for, because I met with both principals and I talked to them about possibly entering a trades program as an option for kids who were maybe not going to be college bound. And so they were very receptive to it. And I just appreciate the fact that I can share with you tonight. So thanks.
Good evening. My name's Kevin Young. How is everybody? Good to see you all here. Well, how did I get up here? Pardon me, I would initially look to Sarah and blame her, but actually she's not the reason. She is a mighty force. But I had a very long conversation with her. She probably didn't realize it at the time. I was actually outside working on a trailer. But after about an hour-long conversation with her where she shared her heart with me, I assured her that I would be talking to Pastor Nick, to make a decision on whether to run or not. And I meant to call him that day and didn't. Friday came and I didn't. I didn't want to bother him on Saturday because I knew he'd be preparing for his sermon. And as it would turn out, the Lord guided my steps correctly, because I didn't need to talk to Pastor Nick. The Lord needed to talk to me through Pastor Nick. And my wife leaned over that day in church and said, "You just got convicted." So that's when I made the decision to run. I've been a resident with El Dorado County, or in El Dorado County, for 34 years. I've been married to my wife for going on 41 years. We have 2 beautiful daughters that we've raised here. We did homeschool them. And you say, why would you be involved with the education system if you homeschooled? Well, as my oldest daughter said to me when we were going over some social media, "Dad, if not you, who? And if not now, when?" And I was also convicted by my wife's, some of the social media she listens to, and it's, some of you are probably very familiar with it. Get off the bench, get on the field. And so that's why I'm here. And I thank you for the opportunity. This has been very humbling.
Good evening. My name is Angelica Kimbrough, and I'm running for Gold Oak School Board. I want to say thank you to Solid Ground for having us, and thank you, Sarah and Nick, for putting this on and facilitating for us. I am running for school board for similar reasons as Larry and Kevin here. I actually was a homeschool mom initially. My kids now attend John Adams, and my stepdaughter attends Pleasant Valley School. So I'm running because I found out some of the things that were going on. I was actually getting ready to go on a trip with my church to go backpacking, and I broke my toe, which I used to do pretty commonly, and I haven't done it in a long time. And so when I went to go get ready for that trip, I was speaking with a lady who was leading it, and she told me what was happening in Pleasant Valley. And I was like, well, she's like, I want to run if I can, if she was in the district. And I was like, well, I'll run, realizing that I can be pretty, I can jump into things a little quickly. And then I broke my toe. And then at church on Sunday morning, my pastor was speaking about how we have to be faithful and go to the areas that God calls us to. And he mentioned the school board specifically 3 times in his sermon that day. And I was just like, oh, okay, God. I guess you are telling me I should run. And I wasn't being too rash jumping in and saying that I'll do it. So I believe that we can have the most impact in our immediate community and school board. And I'm passionate about education, which is one of the reasons why running for school board spoke to me so much. I wanted to make sure that I can keep our kids in an environment that's good for them. So, thank you.
My name's Adam Harston. I'm also running for school board at Gold Oak. There's 2 openings there. So I've got 4 kids. 3 of them currently in the Gold Oak district. And one of the reasons I really wanted to start getting more involved is because of some experiences a couple of my kids have had. We actually ended up even pulling one of them out of PV. And through that experience, we started talking to other parents, I started talking to other teachers, and just saw how much conflict and misinformation and bad communication there was. And I felt that I could get in there and I could help. I'm a CPA. I'm also certified in financial forensics. I like digging in. I like getting into the details. I've been looking at the budgets. And, you know, when attendance goes down, it's tough to have enough funds for your kids to get the education you want them to get. And I think I can help really connect with parents. I know a lot of the parents because my kids are there. I'll have kids at Gold Oak for the next 7 years. So I'm invested, and I really want to help bridge that gap, strengthen our teachers, strengthen our families, bring us together, and just keep, I mean, we have a great community. I want to keep it that way, and I hate seeing it decline. So that is why I'm running. I think I can contribute greatly. I do have some good expertise. I've worked with colleges in the past, recruiting. I've worked with high schools. I'm currently working with a private company. I also advise at the company. So I have a lot of practice communicating and working with other people. So that is why I'm here, and I am very grateful for this opportunity to kind of get my opinion and my views out there.
All right, well, thank you all who shared. Before I ask the first question, I just want to say, and I think I can say this on behalf of everyone who is here, how much we deeply appreciate you attending this and making your views known. So thank you very, very much. First question will go to Adam, and then we'll proceed down the line. Adam, how can your district best ensure students are prepared for success in school and life?
So I'm a major believer in the family. The best way we can help our kids is to make sure our teachers and our parents are in communication about what their kids are being taught, how they're being taught, and how their kids are doing in school. If that breaks down, then they're not going to succeed. It really comes down to the home. We've got to support our kids at home. And the way we do that is to get involved with their school, get involved with their teachers, see what they're teaching, encourage them, and, you know, find other teachers. And we need more teachers now. Obviously, we have had a high turnover. Finding good teachers that have those similar views and values and want to educate our kids and not, you know, indoctrinate them or push political views, but just academically elevate them.
I think I'm pushing that hard enough. I agree with what Adam is saying. I very much think that the family is a very important and critical unit in educating our children. I also understand, I was a single mom for a while, how busy life is, and how hard it is to be connected. I actually have 4 kids and a bonus, so I have 5 kids now with my stepdaughter. And keeping track of everything is really hard. So communication between the schools, between the teachers and the parents is key, but also realizing that parents need to trust the schools, and schools need to focus on things that really matter, the reading, arithmetic, writing, and go back to the basics and not focus so much on the political or the social agendas that are being pushed in our schools.
Same question. Okay, well, I think we're going to find that this is how these questions are going to go. I would agree with both Adam and Angelica. I know that when we homeschooled our daughters, one of the things that we made sure that they knew how to do was math without a calculator. They didn't read off of tablets, they actually read books physically. And yet I know our society has progressed technologically, so we can't go backwards, even though there may be benefits to that. But I think it's important that the communication between the parents and the teachers and the districts, we're going to be advocates for the parents. So we would want your feedback. Tell us what is on your plate and what you feel needs to be accomplished. And that's going to be up to us to take care of it at the district or at the board level.
Well, I kind of going to be like an echo from the others. I really feel that the basic unit for American culture and success is the family. And I feel that as the family disintegrates, so does the nation. And our educational system is under great duress right now. There are forces that are coming into play that are causing the family to be diminished. Parents are losing their rights. They're losing their ability to communicate between the school and the what's going on with their children. They're becoming a nebulous that has no meaning. And I believe that we need to get back to the basics. I've hired high school students with high school degree diplomas, and they weren't able to read, write, or do anything at an acceptable level. And so as a result, I just wanted to be able to make this happen. I'll work with the board and make it happen with the parents working together in the administration.
Thank you. The next question will start with Angelica, so you can pass the mic down. Angelica, it's next. Thank you. Okay, in 2021, AB 133 was enacted into law. Now schools may develop school-based health programs that provide mental health services, substance abuse treatment, contraception, or abortion through on-site clinics, telehealth, without parental knowledge or consent. Schools may provide the above minor consent health services, but are not required to do so. What role do you think schools play in providing physical and mental health care, substance abuse treatment, or gender transition medication services to minor students through on-site services, telehealth, or transporting students off campus?
I don't believe that the school has a place to be providing health care for students of any kind. That's actually one of the reasons why I homeschooled my kids initially. Their children, they don't really know what they want, and the people who know them best are their parents. So the parents should be the ones, if kids can't vote, they can't drink, they can't smoke, they can't do anything before they're 18. So we need to treat them as children, and the parents should be informed and know what is going on with their child so that they can best help and support them in the way that they need to be, and it's not the school's place to be doing that.
And again, I think we're going to all be echoing this. As far as the school's involvement, I think what they do have a duty to do is inform parents if they see potential substance abuse or they see issues. They need to be able to reach out to parents and communicate. I think some of the legislation restricts teachers in that context, but also parents also need to become need to become much more involved with interacting with us boards. I recall one instance where a parent asked me, what can I do about school bullying? And the first thing I said to her was, get involved with your school board. Start attending the board meetings. Make your views known. That's what has to happen.
If a child has a neurological disorder, it's a medical issue, not a school issue. And as a result, the child should be referred to the proper medical authorities to be able to help them go through what they're going through. Once again, if this comes into play and parents are divorced from the issues that their children are dealing with, now the parents are left in a vacuum and they have no say in what's going on with the school. In my opinion, the school has no authority to do that. They should not do that. It couples itself over with the transgender issues as well. If a child's having issues in this area, it's a medical issue that needs to be dealt with on a medical basis and from a medical platform. Obviously, counselors at school will know when a child is having some difficulty, but they could be referred to the proper medical authority to help the child through the issue that they're dealing with. Parents need to know everything that's happening with their children while they're on the school premises.
All right, Kevin, this next question. Kevin, before you,
Can I answer? Oh, thanks. Thanks. So obviously this one gets a lot of attention in the world today. There's been a big push, a lot of changes like that ruling that just went through, where they're trying to, it's odd because they're trying to actually cut out the parent and put a divide between kids and parents, which is, and then claim to do the opposite. It's kind of disturbing. But my view on what they can provide is pretty limited. Obviously, I think they need to be vigilant in watching. If we know who their teachers are and they come to us with an issue, I've had that before where a teacher came, they noticed something, and I was very appreciative of it. But they didn't do anything on their own. They're not experts on all these individual issues because some of these issues are so big. Like you said, mental problems. And sure, schools have some counselors and things that can help kids through tumultuous times, like when there was a pandemic and how to cope with things like that. I'm totally in all for those kinds of services. But when it comes to their mental well-being, their physical well-being, and the decisions that they're going to make about themselves, that needs to be a family issue. That needs to be personal.
now if you would pass the mic to Kevin. Thank you. Kevin, almost a follow-up question. What role should the parents and community play in the education of children in your district?
Well, again, I'm going to reiterate. The first thing I would tell any parent is establish communications with your school, with your school board, with me. That would be my role in District 3 as an advocate for parents. That's who I'm going to be answering to, because you're the ones that put me here. So that would be my number one response to any parent is communicate to me, communicate to your school boards, and communicate with teachers.
Well, there definitely needs to be a cooperative effort between the community and the parents. In investigating this role as a school board trustee, I went back through the records because I have no experience in it, and I went through and I looked at the minutes of the last 5-6 months of Gold Trail's school board meetings. and I wanted to see who was in attendance, who came, who's interested, who's dealing with the issues. 4 months in a row, not one parent was at the school board meeting. That's telling me that the parents are either too busy or uninformed or not interested. And I really believe that there needs to be a concerted effort to make that come to pass, where the school board trustees really need to really hone in a little bit more on trying to get more community and parent cooperation working together. There's all kinds of avenues where that could be expressed, but it's not an impossible task.
So I think parents and community involvement with education, we really need to spend time with the teachers too. Like as parents, go out, meet with the teachers that are teaching your kids, see who they are, and so that they can see who you are. And if they get a lot of us that go in that, we express our desires, our beliefs, how we want our kids treated, how we want them educated, I think they'll respond more positively, and I think that's important. I also think as a community, we need to also help our schools. I mean, financially, we need to be trying to help them. When we see declining school attendance, they lose funding, they lose programs, and then our kids just don't get to do or have as many experiences. And so, again, that involvement, not just dropping your kids off at school and hoping they're teaching them, but meet with your teachers, get the community involved so that those that are teaching are part of your community. You know who they are. And I think that's very important.
I think that there's a bit of a disconnect with the parents. I think that we're seeing the numbers decline in the schools, but parents aren't coming in, as others have stated, and being active and involved about what's going on. So I think that parents definitely need to make their voices heard, both with the teachers, with the school boards. They need to know what curriculum is being taught, and if they have an issue with that, they should take that up with the school board directly. Or if they want to see something taught. I would love to see more classical education, go back to some of the classical books that we no longer see in the schools. And also the community, I very much think is invested and should be involved. I've had people say, oh, well, I don't have a kid, so it's not my voice, I don't get a say. And the reality is that the education of our children impact all of us, even if you don't have kids, because they're the ones that are the next generation coming up. So they need to be aware of what's going on and informed, and I think a lot of awareness needs to happen so that they can speak out and know what's going on.
Thank you. Next will be Larry. This has been touched on by the candidates. There is declining enrollment throughout the state of California. And what should your district be doing to address the challenges of declining enrollment?
What should the district do? Okay, let me just say this. Being a general contractor for 55 years, the law of supply and demand, and you got to offer a better product. If you're going to get the job, if I'm going to win a job, I've got to be a better contractor than the other guys I'm bidding against. And it just appears to me that charter schools are offering more for kids, and they're losing the bid, they're winning the bid from the public school system. When I spoke with both Principal Schmay and Phillips at Sutter's Mill and Gold Trail, they complained about declining enrollment. And I said, well, what can we do to entice the public school system to be more attractive for kids to want to stay there? Well, you got to get away from critical race theory. You got to get away from DEI. You got to start teaching the basics. You got to start understanding that kids need to learn at the basic level, because everything that starts in the elementary level carries through. There's a huge drop-off in educational test scores between the elementary level and the middle school level, and that shouldn't be before kids as they go into the high school level. So it's something that we really can work on.
Now, the interesting part about that question is the board that I would be serving, they actually have oversight on most of the charter schools. But I will echo what Larry's saying. The biggest reason that you're seeing, probably the biggest reason, is people are looking for better quality education, and the charters do offer that opportunity. The other sources of the exodus are homeschooling, and then we've got also people taking flight leaving California. So there's multiple factors there. Again, it's just get back to the basics. Give these students something that when they leave school, they can function in society and not be confused by the social world that's out there, and be able to go in and get a job with their basic skills.
I think I'm next. I really think that to get the enrollment back up, that the school boards and the schools need to listen to what it is that the parents want. They need to look at where are these kids going. They're mandated to be educated. You can't just pull your kid out of school and not educate them. And so we need to listen to see what is working and what's not. And watching the enrollment decline, I think that we could take a lesson and learn like why they're going out and what are these other charter schools and things offering. And then going back to the basics and, like Larry said, getting away from the critical race theory and all the different agendas that try to get pushed, social agendas get pushed in the schools, that is not really what parents want to see happen. So
This issue is it's bigger than just districts too. I mean, this is statewide for us in California. You can obviously, you've seen this decline because of policies and things that are being forced into school systems. It's causing this massive divide. Specifically for our district, I think there's several things that we can and need to do. We pulled one of my sons out of PV, Pleasant Valley, because he was having issues, and he came to us with concerns. And he's happier at his new school now. And, you know, that was majorly concerning to me, is that the school was so bad that he didn't want to go back. And it wasn't just issues with a teacher. I mean, there's big issues with things like bullying. There's big issues with, you know, I think that's the key, is that their parents weren't involved. As a parent that has kids there, I'm trying to reach out to all these other parents to make sure that they know what's going on at their school. And we just need to make sure that we're not promoting crazy ideas. We have to know that things are right, things are wrong, and stick with the things that are right.
Adam, you can hold on to the mic. You'll be starting off on this next question. National news outlets are reporting on parents challenging sexually graphic library books. Other outlets are reporting book banning. Various approaches are being taken to this issue. The American Library Association promotes school districts allowing minors to have unrestricted and unlimited right to read even books with adult content, regardless of age, parental knowledge, or consent. In some schools, librarians give prizes to students who will read books challenged or removed due to sexual content. Conversely, California Education Code 48907 states school districts can exclude books from libraries and classrooms if the books contain obscenity, pervasive vulgarity, or profanity, or incite pupils to commit unlawful acts on school premises. The U.S. Supreme Court PICO decision allowed schools to remove books if they are educationally unsuitable, according to California Education Code 48907. Adam, as a board member, what is your approach to curating library content in elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools?
I like this question because I feel like it's so simple. We shouldn't be, let's see, schools should be focused on teaching, right? We shouldn't allow books in the library that have no purpose or academic impact or excellence for our kids. I mean, it's very simple. They talk about book banning, which is kind of comical because you think about the size of a library at a little school like Gold Oak and how many books there are in the world. We've either banned all of them. I mean, it's really just, we've got to be selective in what's in that library. There's only so much room. And if it has no purpose in furthering their education, and it's just got obscenity. One of the books that from our district that was actually removed, I looked up, there were like 8 or 10 of them. It had the F word in it 89 times. And I was like, what's the academic purpose of having that book there? We just don't need it. And so that's what I think we need to focus on, is just including books that increase their academic understanding, and we don't need books that don't.
I think that it's inappropriate to have a book in the library at all that is not with any type of sexual content in it. I wouldn't consider that book banning. It's just not allowing content that's not developmentally appropriate and really has no place there. I'd like to see the libraries filled with books that are going to challenge our kids, give them something fun to read to encourage a love for reading, and also having a variety and diverse set of books, I think, is a wonderful thing to introduce our kids to everything that's out there, so long as it's appropriate. And if a parent wants to have them read something, a book that might be questionable, then that's a parent's place to do that. And it's not the school's place to put those books in the library. The parents definitely need to be aware of what's in there.
Well, Angelica, I totally agree with you as far as educating your children in that aspect of life. That belongs to the parents. And maybe I'm a simpleton when it comes to this particular subject, but I look at it as, if I handed this book to a kid in a public park, would I be arrested for doing that? And if I'm going to be arrested for doing it, then that book has no business being in the public library. I mean, and maybe I'm looking at this all wrong, but that's how I would view it. That's all I have to say about that one.
Well, handing a student or a kid a book in a park is different than handing a book to a kid in a library at school because, as Pastor Nick just pointed out, it's the law. The law says that these books can exist. So if we want to get the books out of the library, we've got to change the law. And in order to change the law, we got to get the lawmakers out of their position and get them packing. We got to start becoming more involved in what we know we need to do. 36% of evangelical Christians did not vote in the last election, and yet they complain when these types of things are taking place. So as a result, we have ourselves to blame because we have been silent too long. You can't do a book ban because the progressives will come up and say, oh, you're right-wing extremists, and oh, look at what you're doing. No, what you got to do is, under the law, take all those books and ask the librarians to put them behind the librarian's desk and have the parents sign off that their kids can read those books, and then let everybody know that the parents said it was okay for them to read those books.
I just wanted to make a small clarification. School districts do have the ability to not include books that have obscenity, which the reason is because it's criminal obscenity, pervasive vulgarity, and incitement to violence. So they can choose not to have them, or they could choose to have them. It's really up to the local jurisdiction. Okay, so closing candidates, we're going to be starting with Angelica.
I'm really grateful for this opportunity to serve my community as a school board member. I'm the person that if it needs to be done, I'm going to get it done. So I would not normally, I don't like politics, I wouldn't run for school board, but because I heard that there was a need and because I heard that there weren't really any people willing to step up, and I'm so grateful now that I have Adam here also running for Gold Oak as well. But we can make the most difference for our schools as a school board member. There's so much authority that we have to impact our education system, to improve and make changes that need to occur. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity to serve our children and to make some positive change. Thank you guys so much for having us here.
Well, as I said at the very beginning, this has been a very humbling experience for me. I had never even thought about doing anything like this. I'm grateful that I'm here now because my eyes have been opened, like so many people in our stage of life. My wife and I's life, our kids are grown, or practically grown, and so it was that question of why get involved. But again, it was the Lord piercing my heart and said, you know what? You're put here to put forth the gospel and to protect my kids. And that's what I hope to do. And I thank you guys for taking the time to hear what we have to say.
Thanks, Kevin. I often wonder why I took the leap of faith and decided, after running a construction company for 55 years, why would I want to throw my hat in the arena of the snake pit and get involved in just a big controversial thing? I mean, but I have 7 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. And what I see for them is worse than what is for us right now. And I don't feel that we're creating a future for them that's going to be conducive to their success and to their betterment. I see things becoming a greater challenge for them than they ever were for us as people. And I believe that it's our responsibility. Ben Franklin said, duty is ours, but the results are God's. So I think every one of us, the people on this panel up here and the people in the audience, we all have a responsibility to be responsible citizens before our community and before our God. I believe that we need to be involved. And I think that the church's voice needs to be heard more than ever before, and it's not. It's not that ungodliness and unrighteousness and evil has gotten rampant in the public schools. It's that the voice of believers has gotten diminished and smaller. We need to start speaking up as a body of believers. And we need to start making a difference in the lives of the children who are affected by what we say. So I really appreciate the opportunity. If you want more information on my campaign, you can go to my website, which is Larry Thornhill, 4, goldtrail.com, and I got it all laid out. So thanks a bunch, folks.
My purpose on running for this seat is, again, it's very simple. I've got kids in the district. I love my kids. I want to protect them. I want to protect their education. I was blessed with a great education as I grew up, a great environment, and I want them to have that same environment. I've seen it change so dramatically over the last just 5 years even that I knew I had to get involved. And I have no problem pushing back against things that I know are wrong. There are simple truths in this world, and we need to follow those simple truths. Education is a simple truth, I think, where we can just teach our kids, stick to the reading, the writing, the math, teach them about the world, keep things at home that need to be at home, get involved with our community and our school, make sure we're in communication. Communication is such a big thing that's broken down, especially in our district, that it needs to be built back up, and trust built and put back into the system.
Could we give a big round of applause for our first group? Thank you so much. Up next is our next group of candidates. They are from Buckeye District and El Dorado County Board of Education Area 1, which is also down in the El Dorado Hills area. So they're more on the western side of the county. Come on up. Thank you, candidates, for coming. And we will be starting with, we'll be starting at the far end with Rachel. Rachel at the far end for EDCO Area 1.
Hi, everyone. Hello? There we go. Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel LeBrock, and I'm running for the El Dorado County Office of Education, District 1. Whew. Can everyone hear me okay in the back? All right, just let me know if you need me to speak up. So I would equate my education background to kind of like a charcuterie board. I've had a little bit of everything. My parents enrolled my sister and I in private school in elementary, and we were taught several levels ahead of the grade point we were in. So from going several hours at school, we would then transition to several hours with the parents homeschooling with the help of and getting us up to speed. So my parents are very dedicated. They took the time and were with us every night, working with us with our subject matter. And then I grew up in El Dorado Hills and went through the public schools, graduating from Oak Ridge High School. And I am running for office because I am afraid that we may be losing the quality of education that I was privileged to receive. I mean, now more than ever, parents want to ensure that their child is receiving the best education possible. And between the policies from the state and nationwide that are mandating certain policies to be enforced in schools that are driving a wedge between parents and their children, that is just so concerning to me. In addition to the fact that a lot of teachers' unions have openly opposed charter schools because they present an alternative school choice. And especially in my district, where a lot of parents rely on charter schools as the alternative school choice, I am a huge advocate for this form of healthy competition in the schools, driving innovation, and as well as a parent's right to choose a school based on their values and their child's learning needs. So a little bit of background about myself too is I graduated from UCCS, earning my Bachelor's of Education degree, and Bachelor of Innovation degree. And I am a businesswoman, co-owner of 2 businesses. And every day I get to do what I love, listening to my clients, making sure that their needs are met, exceeding expectations, and delivering results. And I plan to take those skill sets with me when elected to office.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Meyer, and I'm running for Buckeye for the second time. I guess I'll give you the numbers. I've been married for over 27 years. And I have 6 children, and I've been a resident of El Dorado Hills for nearly 10 years, and I've been a business owner for over 30 years. So I'm very busy and have a lot going on in life, and really don't have the time to do all this stuff, but we have to do something, and that's why I ran last time, that's why I'm running this time. We're losing our country, and if COVID taught us anything, is that the school systems are completely failing. You sit and listen to teachers talking to your student, and a lot of parents' eyes were opened. I saw this myself, and you have to get involved, and action, action, action. So get to work and participate, make the time. A lot of us are very busy people, family, businesses, all that stuff, but you can see where that's brought our country, where we just kind of go along with life, and we take care of our friends and our family and our churches, and behind the scenes, people are undermining society. They're undermining our country, and it's important that we all stand up and we do something about it and make the time to get it done. Thank you.
The question was a little about yourself, right? Great. My name is Tom Fox. We live in El Dorado Hills. My wife and I do. We've been married for 24 years, if I have that right. I'll learn later if I didn't. But we live down in the East Bay, and I worked there for 30 years as a business manager for a large utility. My business background or my work background is in creating public policy, implementing public policy. A lot of my job was really they would send me into different work units to find out why it wasn't working. I got interested in running for Buckeye when a friend called me and said that they were looking for somebody to run. It was not my intention. In fact, I wanted to get my wife to run, and then at the end she said no. But when I started looking at the tape for the Buckeye school board meetings, I was kind of astonished. I'd never seen such a poorly run and unorganized group in my life, and the things that they were doing were just horrible. So like many of the other speakers, I learned about what's going on in public school systems. And as a Christian, I think the first thing that I decided for myself those many years ago, I didn't want to be another pew warming, another butt warming a pew in church. I wanted to be active. If my faith means anything, it's got to be an active faith. So when I heard what was going on, I decided, prayed about it, and decided that this is something I have to do. Whether I win, whether I lose, it's in God's hands, and either way, I'm fine. I'm just trying to be obedient in that regard. But there's a lot of work to be done, and there's a lot of sickness in the school board, and I look forward to being that change factor that can help change it around.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jennifer Euler. I'm also running for Buckeye. It's a very popular race, which talk about later might be a sad thing, actually, rather than a good thing. But just a little bit about myself. I am a Chief Assistant Attorney General. I run a division of about 350 folks, agents, special agents, attorneys, investigative auditors who prosecute and investigate Medi-Cal fraud and elder abuse. So I am used to dealing with a lot of problems. But that's not really what brought me here to the stage. I moved to El Dorado Hills only about 4 years ago. And one of the main factors for that move was the school system. I wanted to move my child. He was going to be entering school, and I wanted him to be in a county and in a district where the academics were strong and where I was going to set him up for the best life possible, the best future, the way a parent can. I'm obviously working. I do not have the option to homeschool. I have 2 stepdaughters who are in 11th and 7th grade, and then my first grader. So we run the gamut. And when I got to El Dorado Hills, I thought, okay, here we go, like-minded people, everything's going to be a breeze. And then I decided to run for school board and got a peek behind the curtain about what's really happening in our schools. And it's frightening, and it's disheartening. And as for somebody who teaches my son, there should be no secrets between us. To have administrators and teachers and schools try to drive that wedge between parents and children, that's really disheartening and very scary for me. So that's one of the main reasons why I ran. But also I want to make sure that Buckeye maintains this history and increases on the academics. It encourages, advances our children to actually be successful in life and not just dealing with the trends and the ebbs and the flows of what's popular now. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all for that introduction. And Jennifer, this first question is for you. How can your district best ensure students are prepared for success in school and life?
I'm a huge believer in STEM, science, technology. I'm an attorney. My better half is an electrical engineer, so we are big on academics in our house. It doesn't sound like we're fun people, but we are. But we really do encourage academics. And I think that that is really what we need to build on. We need to set our children up on a foundation where they can be successful in life. And that is going back to the basics. That is looking at science, engineering, mathematics, and really providing them with a foundation to grow on and move forward from. I've heard from so many people who have said, oh man, I'm so glad that they taught me how to, do calculus in school, but didn't teach me how to file a tax return. Right? And I feel like a lot of that, we're just missing the basics. And I know K through 8's a little bit different, but I think if you don't have that foundation, you don't have strong academics from the beginning, our kids will never recover.
Thank you. I think how do we ensure that students are prepared for success in life? I think to begin with, you have to program your kids just like a computer. It's what are you teaching them? How are you sending them out? Nowadays, what's happening is we are teaching kids that they are surrounded in what I would call woke culture. We're teaching them all the things that life is really not about. We need to get culture. We need to get politics out of the schools. We need to, as Jennifer was saying, we need to stick really to what works, and that's mathematics, reading, writing, classical studies. Why don't we bring back classical studies? This is what we all grew up on, and I think we all did pretty well. But also the more practical things, how to balance a checkbook if people still have checkbooks. How do you, like Jennifer said, how do you vote? How do you know how to vote? How do you think critically? We don't want to indoctrinate kids. We want to teach them how to think. We don't want to teach them what to think. They're going to figure that out later on their own. But you need to prepare kids to be smart, to question, to be able to figure something out, to do their own research, and not be victims.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of similar answers here. I'm trying to think of what I can add. My 13-year-old son today rode to work with me, and he really wanted to pump the gas. We stopped for gas. And, all these little things we do, not that school teaches you how to pump gas, but it's just the small things that, like you're talking about a checkbook or a spreadsheet, whatever, money management, just small things, and just being able to equip children to just go out and survive, leave the house before they're 30, And schools are, nowadays, they're taking away, this is why charter schools be very popular, because they specialize in things, with the arts and practical things that the school, a public school doesn't offer. But, they're taking away physical education. They're taking away art. They're taking away music. They're taking away all these things that greatly contribute to the life of a child or a young adult, that helps open their mind and helps them grow as human beings.
Great. So I'll try not to reiterate too much from what the other candidates have said, but I absolutely agree that we need to bring back the core or fundamental curriculum and academics, instill that back into the classrooms, not spend so much time on social woke agendas, and if you invest that into the core subjects, then you're going to see a return on that in what the students retain and what they then bring forth into the world. But I also think we need to bring back civics into the classroom. What are the three branches of government? When was the War of Independence won? Who were the two sides fighting in the Civil War? No student will be able to answer these questions, are able to answer these questions. And that is so concerning, because if we don't learn our history, we're not going to be prepared for the future. And our children right now are needing to be prepared for the future. So bringing civics back, getting an understanding, a foundation of our laws, of how the country was brought about, not only inspires patriotism and pride in where we come from and our heritage, but also in one another.
The next question will start with Tom. In 2021, AB 133 was enacted into law. Now schools may develop school-based health programs that provide mental health services, substance abuse treatment, contraception, or abortion through on-site clinics, telehealth, without parental knowledge or consent. Schools may provide the above minor consent health services, but are not required to do so. What role do you think schools play in providing physical and mental health care, substance abuse treatment, or gender transition medical services to minor students through on-site services, telehealth, and or transporting students off campus?
Zero. Absolutely none. One more time. Absolutely nothing. We don't. Why would we want to put health clinics on a school campus? You have to think about that. We've never had health clinics on school campuses. Could it be that they want to give kids hormones? Do you think it could be that they want to help kids transition? This is not what a school does. A school is supposed to educate. I would be 100% against having any kind of a clinic on a school. It's the camel's nose under the tent. And what is that going to lead to? Now, if it's a clinic one day, is it a hospital the next day? Is it operations a few years down the road? Does it become a requirement where kids all of a sudden have to go to the clinic and they have to state what their choice is out of 33 different sexes listed on a form? No, this is not a smart idea. This is something we need to get away from. It's something we need to prevent from even happening at all.
So, okay, we're on. All right. Testing. When I was a kid, we had a school nurse. And if you didn't feel well or you got a boo-boo, you would go to the school nurse. And that nurse would give you a bandage or would have you rest for a little while to see if you would feel a little better, and if you didn't feel better or if it was something maybe a little more serious, they would get on the phone and call your parents. So that seemed to work pretty well. And I know everybody's busy, but we have cell phones now, so the nurse can actually get a hold of parents much easier. So text them, whatever, email, carrier pigeon, whatever. But it's simple, we need to go back to simplicity and get the parents more involved if there's any situation involving children and their health at school.
So one of the questions that first pops into my mind when I hear this is, who is paying for this? It's going to be the parents, right? It's going to be the taxpayers. And now you're telling me that these facilities that we're paying for, we're not going to be able, we're going to send our kids there blindly, and no one's going to be able to give us a report. We're not going to be able to, be any part of that stage in the child's development. I mean, that's a screaming red flag. And number two is, I talk to people all the time saying that schools are pretty mismanaged when it comes to their budget. Teachers aren't paid well enough, or it's the facilities aren't updated and equipped well enough. So now we're putting medical people into the schools and expecting that to be well managed and that budget to be enforced and put to good use. Who is qualifying these medical professionals? What budget are they given? Where are we finding the funds for this when we already have schools that we can't manage? So it's really astounding to me that this is even being talked about when we can't handle the budget and the workload that we have.
A wise man once said to me, "You can't give my kid an aspirin without my consent." However, this is what's being proposed, which is beyond belief. I'm not going to repeat what you guys said. I'm going to put my own little flair, which is kind of piggybacking off of you, which is I imagine this is going to be Medi-Cal funded. And guess what I do for a living? And I don't have a shortage of work, right? So just imagine the amount of fraud and the amount of abuse that can be taking place on school campuses where our children are the victims. This is not in the best interest of our children. This is a money grab by people who are putting profit over our students, profit over our families, and profit over our future.
Ryan, this next question is for you. Ryan, what role should the parents and community play in the education of children in your district?
Wow, let's see. Thought I had an answer to this one. Parents and community. Well, we're supposed to represent the community on the board. That's, I think, the idea there. So we play that role for the community, I think, and parents should be involved as much as possible. But I also went to school board meeting and there's nobody there. So, you know, it's about involvement, you know, it's about getting parents to, and whatever you can do. I mean, the meetings are in the evenings. I mean, it's not like they're in the middle of the day. I mean, there's really no excuse. Parents should be involved in their children's lives and in their education, and that's up to them. So we do our best, we get elected, and then hopefully we are the representation in the community. The two candidates that are not here tonight, they are endorsed by the teachers union, by the teachers. So they're looking to represent themselves on the school board. So it's important that we here for Buckeye are one of us, two of us are on that school board, because the other option is to have people who basically represent the teachers on that school board. So please take that into consideration, because we are running against two candidates that are endorsed by the teachers union and teachers, and they're working very hard through Facebook and other things to win.
So I think about my background when I hear this question and just how fortunate I realize I was to have parents, my parents are here tonight, and they were so involved and dedicated in my school. All I have to say is flashcards, and with math, show your work. And I just, growing up, I just thought everybody's parents did that. I mean, how else do you get good grades? You know, parents have to be involved, right? So coming into and running, it shocks me that that's not the standard. That's really the exception. And I feel like that needs to become the standard, the new norm. We need to make that the new norm. Parents definitely need to get involved with their kids. I know it's really difficult. Everyone's on a two-income household most of the time. But parents have to get involved, and we as the district have to be the voice to push that. I think whenever there was brought up a point that when school boards are held, no parents are in attendance. Well, why not send out a blast text message, an email to all parents, constantly reminding them that this is happening tonight, where, when, to show up, to what's going to be talked about, what's the agenda, because I think if we get more parents involved, not only in their kids' lives, but in the schools administration, huge difference.
I forgot the question. Transparency. I think, first of all, I think that the role should be a partnership. I think parents, the community, the teachers, it takes a village to raise a child. Why are we moving away from that? I think parents have to be involved, and I hear time and time again folks saying that, no parents are at school board meetings. Do parents know what happens at school board meetings? Like, I volunteer in my child's class, I show up, I do all the events, I do the food truck meeting, I do whatever there is, I'm there. But I had no idea the types of books that were showing up in our library. How do we as a community, how do we as a board get that message out to really capture parents who care, because parents care about their kids. I think they just don't know what's going on. And so I think to get the community and get the parents involved is our responsibility, it's our duty, so that we can all work together. I think it's not just when traumatic events like COVID happen. I think parents should be involved all along, so that when COVID comes up, you already have a working relationship and established, so that you can actually do what's best for the kids.
I think we need to understand first that there's two sides here. There's the teachers' union with the teachers, staff, the superintendent, and that's one side. And then there's the parents and the students. The school district as a whole, the staff, the administration, doesn't want communication from parents. They want parents to step aside. They know best, or they would have you believe so. I think number one, what we need to do, I would propose really that a more active communication program where the board would dictate communications that the superintendent would set out to parents, and don't hide your problems, put them out in the light of day. Bullying is a problem. CRT is a problem, to the extent that school safety is a big issue. To the extent that these problems come up, talk about them, and let parents know, and encourage them to come down and talk. We have to get parents into the school board room, because right now it's just teachers. Teachers and administration people, the parents aren't showing up.
Thank you. The next person will be Rachel. What should your district be doing to address the challenges of declining student enrollment?
Yes, so as it was mentioned in the last panel, I think it's very powerful to ask the question, why are students being taken out? It's not an easy decision for a parent to pull their kids out of an established school, established schedule, regiment, and drop them somewhere completely different. So if parents are doing that, whether that's bringing them homeschooling or putting them into charter schools, there's clearly an issue that's happening. And I think a lot of charter schools are, at least from what I talked to the John Adams Academy, they indicated that the public schools are having a huge influx in students. They are inundated with students. The teachers cannot have that one-on-one connection anymore with the students. They're understaffed. A lot of times the parents, especially during COVID, saw what was being taught in the classrooms and said, no way, put their kids into a school that better aligns with their values, or if that child has special learning needs. District 1 in the EDCO school board deals a lot with special education programs, and we oversee that these metrics and that these state requirements are being met. So I think the best way to address student attendance is to just figure out what the issue is, and schools should compete with each other and innovate and drive that success.
When people leave my workplace, we do an exit interview, right? And to figure out what's not working, what was more attractive for this other offer. And I think that is what we're saying. I think that's what the last panel said too, is really identifying the problems. I think we all have our ideas of what the problems may be. I don't know that I need to reiterate them. But I think it comes down to schools not being responsive and not listening to parents. I think if parents had a voice and felt like they had a voice and had an ability to affect change, we may not see the declining enrollment. If the school board and the school districts were responsive to the community and the parents, I think that we could figure out what is the issue and how do we work together to resolve it. But I think, again, it comes back to transparency. It comes back to information sharing. It's all the same themes in how we've ended up where we are today.
Well, first, we need to realize that in the past 12 years at Buckeye, student enrollment has gone down 13%. The California Public Policy Institute has indicated that this trend is going to continue. It's not abating. There's an estimate right now that by 2030, that 1/2 of all students in California that could be going to public schools will be homeschooled. So schools are having a big problem. What we first have to do is find out, why are people leaving? Now, I've been talking to mothers, I've been talking to fathers of kids who go to Buckeye School District, and here's the theme that I'm hearing. The school district does not represent my values. The school district is teaching things about sexuality and about race, which I'm not comfortable with. I don't want my kids hearing that. Or the school is not safe. There's too much bullying going on. There's sexting going on. There's cyber stalking going on. We've had 2 bomb threats, if anybody isn't, or if you haven't heard that, 2 bomb threats in Buckeye schools in the last week. So parents have a right to feel uncomfortable. That's why they're leaving. So what we need to do is expose these issues and deal with them one by one. And you have to tell people that you're dealing with them, because if you tell people, we know why you're leaving, these are the problems, and we're addressing them now, people will listen to that, they'll respect that, and they'll work with you.
So, why are charter schools, why do they do so well? You know, I mean, it's like Larry was talking about, it's a product, you know, it's, they have to compete. You know, the charter school comes in and offers a better product, basically, and they do it better, and teachers can get fired. And I think there's incentive there. It's merit-based. They have to do a good job. They have to, you know, they have to provide. And the system definitely has some issues in public school. And the money's there. I bet you, if you broke it down, you can look at what they spend, and what they spend on kids is, and what they spend on the giant machine that runs all of it, you know. It's very concerning how much money actually gets to students. And like I said, they cut art and physical education and music and all these things, and those are things that children need, and that's what they want, and parents want that too. So why would you send your kid to a public school if they don't offer any of those things that really contribute to a well-rounded life?
This goes back to Jennifer. Jennifer, national news outlets are reporting on parents challenging sexually graphic library books. Other outlets are reporting book banning. Various approaches are being taken to this issue. The American Library Association promotes school districts allowing minors to have unrestricted and unlimited right to read, even books with adult content, regardless of age, parental knowledge, or consent. In some schools, librarians give prizes to students who will read books challenged or removed due to sexual content. Conversely, California Education Code 48907 states school districts can exclude books from libraries and classrooms if the books contain obscenity, pervasive vulgarity, or profanity, or incite pupils to commit unlawful acts on school premises. The U.S. Supreme Court PICO decision allowed schools to remove books if they are educationally unsuitable. As a board member, what is your approach to curating library content in elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools?
If the mechanism is there, why aren't we using it? There's a mechanism for us to remove books from schools that aren't appropriate for our kids. We should be exercising it. The contents of a book should be on par with the child's developmental stage, their developmental age, and their maturity. We rate movies, right? PG, PG-13. Why are we being looked down upon and being told we're trying to ban books when we're really just saying we're trying to find a rating and a book for my child that is appropriate? If my child wants to watch a PG-13 movie, I watch it first and then say, okay, yes or no, you can't watch that movie. And I think it's upon the parents, and I'm glad that they're saying that people are fighting specific books, because I think that is a parent's job. I think it's a school board's job. We should be fighting for our children. We should be fighting for the future. We should be fighting against things that go against the community's morals and beliefs and belief systems. So I think we should be availing ourselves of the mechanism that's already in place for us to remove these books from school.
Thank you. Buckeye had pornographic material found in their library a couple of months ago. A few weeks ago, I was at a Kingdom Builders meeting, and a guy walked up to me and talked to me about a pornographic book or a sexually explicit book that his kids had found. I did a scan of some books that are controversial by looking into the online file for Buckhorn Library. And even though the superintendent said that this had been taken care of, guess what? Those books are still there. So what would I do? Well, when I was a manager, I created performance appraisals for my people and performance plans. So one thing I would suggest is maybe for the school librarians, we would tell them that part of your plan is you have to not allow these books to get in, and you have to be vigilant that they're not there. If you don't do that, it goes against your performance plan, and maybe you get fired. So that's one thing that we could do. I think the board needs to take an active role in this, and I think the board has to be very, very strict with the superintendents and the teachers, letting them know this is no joking matter, and we take it seriously.
There are a lot of books, like hundreds of these books that are not placed appropriately in libraries. And I just watched something about that today, this documentary that's coming out about how many there are. And wow, it's just mind-blowing because you knew they were there. But I mean, and obviously every day there's people are writing books and they're pushing these books. And yeah, they need to be identified, first of all, and make sure they do go to the right place, because some, might be appropriate for high school or, not obviously for elementary school or middle school. So there needs to be some kind of grading, like you said, PG-13 or whatever. There has to be a review, and they need to be identified, and somebody needs to audit that. That's really the bottom line.
Yeah, so I think again is you want to make this really simple. You bring these books into a board meeting, and if you're told by the board members full of grown, mature, adult individuals, and they tell you that language or that content is inappropriate to read at a board meeting, well then maybe that's not good to put in the hands of a 12-year-old child. So I think that it's what I think Tom and what everyone's been saying up here is we need you folks in the audience to vote and put people on these boards who will hold the board members accountable. Because as Sarah mentioned, there are laws in place already none of these books should be existing in the libraries, but they are. Why? Because there are members on the board who, for whatever sick, twisted reason, in my opinion, have fought to keep them or to ignore the issue. So our job up here, and why you need to get the vote out to everyone you know, is to get people in place who will not relent, who will keep bringing this in front of the board until these books are out of the schools.
Tom, can you start with closing comments, please? Tom, your closing comments. Thank you.
There we go. First, Pastor Nick, I want to thank you for having us here and agreeing to do this forum. Not many churches, not all churches are willing to do this, so it's appreciated. I want to encourage everybody out here who feels strongly about these topics to talk to other people in your school districts. If you will each make a commitment to talk to 10 people, get 10 people to commit to vote the right way, we can turn this around. Elections are lost by just a few votes. So I think this is very important. There's lots of other things I could be doing, other things that you could be doing, but we're talking about the future of our kids. This is kind of a sacred honor or a sacred cause, really, to be after. And I just think if you will contact people and encourage them to vote the way that your heart says that they should vote, that we really can make a difference. This is important, and I think in the end the Lord will make a decision. And I just want to say that I wish there were 3 seats, because Jennifer would be great, Ryan would be great. I'd like to serve. All 3 of us can't. But if you get the word out and talk to people, I'm sure you can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and Sarah, Nick, thank you for hosting this, and I appreciate the opportunity to just be of service. This is not Los Angeles, this is not San Francisco, This is El Dorado County, and you know, you live in El Dorado Hills or Placerville or little town El Dorado, whatever, and you have school boards that are allowing the same policies to pass through that are used in these big cities. You know, it's coming right through. You know, the state is passing laws and putting together policies, and they're pushing them down to schools. And you need to have an active school board that is a safeguard, you know, to watch over those things and to make the right decisions for what's appropriate for our community. It's about our community. We should not have policies that are San Francisco policies. This is, you know, we're supposed to represent our community. So, and that's what we need. We need a balance too. We do not need to elect people to the school board that are supported by the teachers or the teachers union. We need parents to be represented here. We need a balance, checks and balance, so that we can make the right decision for everybody, all parents that we represent and this community as a whole. Thank you.
So I truly feel that we are all on a precipice, and it's significant that not just one or two, but all 8 of us here tonight and have been called to step up and do this. And I think that's really a sign. It's telling us something, that we are politically, spiritually, we're being faced with a lot of dangerous elements, and that's why we're all running and why we need to see a change. And what we have the power to do is to enact this in the schools, where we think it really all starts. So, if elected, I will be your voice for the freedom of school choice. I will fight for the transparency for parents, push classrooms to focus on core and fundamental academics, and most importantly, uphold our community values, which we all know hold near and dear to our hearts, and that have to be equally in the schools as much as at the home. So thank you all so much for being here tonight. You being here really means a lot to all of us, and please don't stop until November 5th. We've got to make changes in our community, in our schools. We've got to get the vote out, and we can win this together. We can make this happen. Let's make classroom learning great again. Thank you.
Okay, last but not least. I want to thank Sarah and Pastor Nick. Thank you so much, and thank everybody for being here tonight. It really means a lot to us to have a stage to voice our thoughts and our opinions, because I think it's very easy to hide how people truly feel. It's easy to put your name on a sign, and it's hard to sit in front of people and answer questions. So thank you for being here and giving us that opportunity. I alluded earlier, there are 6 people running for the Buckeye Union. And I think that is telling in and of itself. When did our schools become such a political playground? Why have 8 of us been called to do this and feel so passionate? Because it's not the money, right? Come on. So this is really something that we all feel very passionate about. And I think it's time that we are heard and we really are able to stand up and do what's best for our children. So I'm here tonight to say, let's put education over agenda, let's focus on the future, and let's get back to the basics. And thank you all.
All right. Well, thank you all very, very much. Before we close, I just want to say, as a pastor in this community, I do want to thank Pastor Don Pritchard for opening up the building for us today. Thank you. There are other pastors here tonight. Pastor Kyle is here. And I don't think I missed anybody, did I? Oh, Judd, how you doing? Jed Bird. I just want to say that these men are all like-minded on this issue, and I would hope that each and every pastor in this community is strongly exhorting the people that attend their church to get out and vote. Larry said something that was very profound and important tonight. He connected this not just on the local level, but onto the state level. It has to be changed up on the top, too. These people who are making these very corrupt laws, they need to be held accountable to the people here. So please, please vote, and please encourage others to do the same.
One way you can help people be able to participate more effectively in elections is to get information to them. Most people don't vote for school board. It is a very low vote portion of the population. People vote the top of the ticket. They don't down ballot vote often for school boards. We've had 2 years ago, we had somebody win by 35 votes on the recount. So they are very small races with small numbers of people voting. So that's an opportunity to make a huge difference. My heart is that we have dialogue about the issues in our schools and that really the issues are brought forward for communication. So what I would really encourage every person to do, you either received like a card like this where educationimpact.us is listed on here, and then there's a QR code to take you to the website. And on that is the school board candidate questionnaire, and you can get a copy when you exit. There's also samples there by district. Encourage people, like take the time with your phone, look it up for the website and text it out to your friends and family, please. People thank me regularly because we've done this 2 years ago, and they ask me in my neighborhood, are you going to do that again? I never knew how to vote because I didn't know anything about the candidates. They were literally just a sign on the road. And I just think our kids are too important to have it decided by a sign on the road. People should really know what people think and feel. And I just am so thankful to our candidates for coming and sharing their hearts and their vision for the school system. And please, take the time to spread the word that there are resources. We'll be posting the link to the video for families that weren't able to attend, and especially, I know parents with the littles, this is a hard push to be here. So send it on to your friends, family, grandchildren. Make sure people know that there are information about where people stand on critical issues. There will be another candidate forum coming up. It's Wednesday, October 16th. There's little flyers out here if you want to invite a friend to attend the next one. We're really thankful that Foothills Church has also opened their facility to allow a community forum. One thing I would like to say is very clearly, this is for everybody. These churches have opened their doors to provide the community at large with an opportunity to hear about education. This is not a church service. This is an opportunity to know about voting. And they have beautiful facilities and the equipment. And I'm so thankful that they offer this as a donation to the community to encourage democracy. And so I just wanted us to give a big round of hand for the church's hosting. The candidates will be kind of out mingling, so feel free to ask questions. I'll be kind of in the lobby where the candidate questionnaires are, so I can help you find the questionnaire that matches your district. It is done by your voting address, so I'm pretty familiar with each geographical area. There's many small districts, and we'll get you to the right place so you make sure you have the information you need.